미쳤는데요. 오.
내가 빌드 존슨 대 존슨 그 이상의 것을 만들어 왔으면 잘한다라는 표현을 너무 경이롭기도 했는데
취재.
그거라도
방향으로 쓰러지지 않습니다. 이 취재.
짜임새 있고 더 현실성 그러면서 수비를 높은 새로운 빌드를 보여주는 게 고영재 선수다. 시네마틱일 뿐.
터져요.
그 이상으로 해야 되잖아요.
잡으러 왔다. 시작하겠습니다.
Semi-finals. GuMiho, Dark. Africa TV, Freak Up Studio, live. 2023 GSL Season 2.
I feel amazing. I feel amazing.
This is it. We are here in the round of 4, and then, of course, the finals of Season 2 of the GSL. 3 Terrans, 1 Zerg, no Protosses unless you're counting casters. So, you squeeze that Protoss representation in somehow here.
Yeah, we'll see if Dark can make it through. It's been a very Terran-dominated year of the GSL so far. In Season 1, we had an all-Terran top 4 here in Season 2. 3 Terrans and 1 Zerg. Dark, the only non-Terran player able to break it into the semifinals so far this year, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, and again, GSL has been, for many, many years, a tournament where Zergs tended to come out on top. Terrans at times would rise to the top. Protosses did have their moments, absolutely, but right now, and for this whole year, really, it's been a story about Terrans. Now, if there was a Zerg who could advance, I would say Dark is our guy. He's only got 1 matchup to prep for. At the same time, though, the 3 Terrans we have are very different and very scary.
Yeah, seems like viewer prediction. Almost half of all viewers expect Maru to walk away with his 7th GSL championship trophy. It's a lot on the line, man, but Maru, he's been looking to be in great form. He's won, I think, back-to-back GSL Code S's, just looking absolutely incredible. You know, might have another Terran champion. I think the odds are we will.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, Maru, if you had to pick somebody, he's a very safe bet, right? He's won the most GSLs. He's been the most consistent over time. He's not really struggled in the matchup TVT, although we did see in the finals of IEM with Oliveira that I don't know what happened there, but it seemed like Oliveira basically solved him, at least for that evening. But against other Korean Terrans, he hasn't had so much of a hard time. But the other 2 Terrans, GuMiho and Kira, have really brought it to the next level, are really approaching the game in their own way. And Dark has proven time and time again that if given enough time, he can cobble together a style that's going to be able to compete with that. Now, this GSL and probably all the GSLs from here on out will not be possible without viewer support.
Absolutely. Crowdfunding really makes the world of StarCraft esports go around, not just here at the GSL, but around the world, as we have raised $26,974 in total. That's across Patreon and Africa TV. If you guys want to contribute up to $30,000, all of that goes 100% to the players, to the prize pool. Anything in excess of that, it rolls over to the next season, the next GSL.
That's right. And this is really the way, you know, not just of GSL here, but of, you know, everything I think to come in content is, you know, reliance on viewership support. And so your support is appreciated. You can also go to, whether it's Patreon or Africa TV with star balloons there, it's appreciated. So here's what our bracket is looking like now. You can see here, GuMiho versus Dark is how we're going to begin the evening. We're going to move after that to Kira versus Maru, take the winner of the 2 of each of those best of 5s, and then move on to a best of 7 finals.
Yeah, and it should be a very action-packed day. We have the GSL Season 1 rematch in match number 2 this evening, and then GuMiho facing off against the only Zerg, Dark. You know, most of the time I would say, I would look at this stat sheet and be like, okay, Dark is probably going to be favored here, but GuMiho has been looking so good. In this season in particular, he just looks absolutely solid in TVT and TVZ. He's coming through with these unpredictable builds. His mechanics seem solid. His decision-making is even baffling opponents like Maru occasionally. And with how successful it's able to work, and I just can't wait to get into this action.
We are going to have an interview now with each of these players. It'll be conducted by Castor Park. He says, hello, boys. They say hello.
먼저 고병재 지난 8강에
Firstly, GuMiho.
KTX 중단 4태를 펼쳤는데 그걸 뚫어내면서
In the last match in the round of 8,
4강 무대까지 올라왔어요.
you were unable to come to the studio due to the flooding here in Korea.
많이 놀랐고
Tell us a little bit about that.
올라왔거든요. 혹시
So I was a little bit caught off guard when I got to the train station and I realized, oh, all the trains are closed. I booked my ticket one day earlier.
있다고 생각하기 때문에 이번엔 동동 환경에서 영웅 꼭 이기고 결승 가고 싶어요.
In the fight itself, I think I played pretty well. I was comfortable being at home.
박영우 선수에 많이 잡힌 그 기록이 좀 있던데 그 부분 지금의 고병재는 좀 다른 모습 보여줄 수 있나요?
He mentioned it's going to be much more fair today.
제가 아마 영웅 상대로 온라인 오프라인 합쳐가지고 지금 한 13연패 정도 되는 것 같은데.
So anyways, going up against Dark,
GSL은 준비할 수 있는 시간이 있는
I've lost, I think, a dozen games versus him.
준비를 열심히 해왔고 준비한 게 통한다면 이길 수 있을 것 같아요.
From the previous matchup, I think I've had a little bit of time to try to come up with something, so I think my planning's gone well. Over to you, Dark. What are you thinking about being surrounded by Terrans?
350개 정도 되거든요. 그중 이제 5개가 오늘 쓸 거라고 생각하니까.
I think Terran have at least more than 300 builds.
아니 그러면 300 그 정도 되면은 오늘 테란이 3명이잖아요.
So he'll have to pick 5 out of those 300 builds.
이겨내야 되는 건가요 지금?
네, 거의 그 정도의 확률을 제가 가위바위보 싸움을 해야 되는데 많은 분들이 응원해 주셨으면 좋겠어요.
Are you saying there's slim chances you'll make it to the finals? Yeah, I think my chances are low.
그래도 지금 박영우 선수 입장에서는 상대 전적에서는 앞서 나가고 거의 뭐 전체적인 분위기 상황으로도 충분히 해볼 만한 싸움이다 그런 생각은 안 하세요?
But your head-to-head record is far superior to GuMiho's. What are you talking about?
후안 선수랑 할 때도 상대 전적이 매우 앞섰지만.
Well, I would say that the previous scores are irrelevant.
요새는 좀 많이 신경 안 쓰는 분위기이기도 하고 테란들이 좀 신경 안 쓰는 것 같아요.
Record against him has been pretty good, but right now he's Terran. It changes the game entirely. So you said today is the day you're going to defeat Dark GuMiho, as long as your builds pan out.
말하면 자신이 그렇게 있는 건 아닌데.
Any thoughts on that? So
그리고
I'm not as confident facing off against Dark.
예상 이상으로 너무 많이
When Dark evaluates me that way, and he's whining like this, he's normally not a player who complains like that. So I'm a little caught off guard to see him talking like that. Dark, you're the leader of Zerg. Is it really that hard to play against Terran? This is just the beginning, I'm telling you. This is just 10% of my ability to whine.
궁금하기는 해요. 지난 시즌에 이어서 테란의 강세는 이어지고 있으니까요. 고영 선수 태조전 밸런스 테란이
Let's talk about TVZ balance for a second. What are your thoughts on the matchup in general, GuMiho?
강요가 징징댄다.
이게
Zergs are being babies and whining. It's not that hard.
모르겠지만 제가 아프리카에서 또 주최하는 아프리카 챔피언스컵을 봤어요. 제가 그 경기를 보면서 느낀 게 저거는 절대 징징대지.
I was watching the Africa TV's Champions Cup.
그럼 박영우 억징.
This balance is not that much for Zerg. I don't know why they're complaining so much.
그러면 이제 끝으로 박영우 선수, 고병재 선수에게 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
제가
And before we wrap this interview, any thoughts? Closing thoughts? Excuse me.
한번 열심히 발악해서 여러분의 응원에 힘입어서
GuMiho's already started his mind game with the builds on these maps, but I'm not going to fall for that. Anyways, I'm going to focus on my game and bring my very best. And GuMiho, any words to the fans or to Dark? I've worked really hard. Although my opponent's Dark, I do want to say he's such a great Zerg player. I hope I can execute my strats as planned. Cheer for me. All right, good luck. They say thank you. And we're back.
Wow. Spicy interview right there.
Yeah, I like it. I do want to point out, like, this is, the first time in almost a decade Zergs aren't crushing, and they're like, the tears are real. But it's like I see both sides of it. I really do, right? I mean, Zerg have won so many GSLs, and it does seem like overall, I'd say in the let's take the last 5 years, right? Last 4 years, 5 years. It's been a lot of Zerg domination from a wide range of Zergs, and even the ones that aren't right at the top, there's been plenty of Zergs to kind of fill in the cracks with the few Protoss and Terrans we've had. But 2023 is a whole new era of Terran. Real Terran domination. Terrans playing in very different styles. Terrans getting really complex mid-games and creating opportunities we didn't really see in the game before. I mean, this is what makes RTS, in my opinion, the best genre of games, is that the game itself ages like a fine wine. There's more we learn about it. There's new things to discover and new ways to transform yourself as a player. I don't think this is going to be easy for Dark, and I rarely say that. Anytime he's in the round of 4, I've watched this guy cast and survive so many different players and so many different scenarios and maps. But I'll tell you, man, the Terrans today, and especially this one, GuMiho, he's his own breed of Terran. It's very hard to even practice against somebody to prep for this. And GuMiho has shown he's got a very, very wide range of play styles.
Yeah, I think he has the widest range of any Terran player that we have here in the GSL by a lot. This guy can go bio, he can go
special,
mech.
I'd say.
It does feel that way, and he's in such great form right now. I feel like if this one is going to go Dark's way, it's going to go all the way to map number 5.
2023 GSL Season 2. GuMiho. DKZ Gaming. Dark.
No way. No way. Look at this waypoint taste list.
Oh my God.
I mean, there are a couple different scouting patterns that you can take with that Overlord.
This time he moved his Overlord like it's a giant knight on a chessboard. He's moving in a big L right across the map.
Straight to the barracks.
Yeah.
And he is not going to reveal to GuMiho that he's aware of this either. So GuMiho right now, he doesn't know, but he will very soon. The Dark has scouted this out.
And look how this is timed out, where the drones are going to come right when it's like, well, you're never going to finish this barracks.
Yeah, there is a very tight angle, which I think the SCV has been able to. Oh no, they actually can go behind that.
You can go behind those, into the trees. It's so. This is literally the worst thing that can happen as a proxy, because the fact that you delayed it that much means the second barracks has started that much later. Really good read here by Dark. We've seen in other games, I think not even just in this matchup, I think we've seen some Protoss hide stuff in that area, that's like a really tempting proxy spot. And so the fact that he made his knight chess move with the Overlord down to scout through there and then beeline across the map, that's a big punish. So we're going to see GuMiho basically trying to recover here. I don't know that Dark has to necessarily go for a punish. One might look at this and see that the barracks is canceled and think, well, you need to like parlay this into an attack. I don't think you necessarily do. I think you can just drone up more comfortably and know that the threat of Reapers is later, even if that's of all the threats that could happen, and it is going to be that. But squeezing out a few extra drones and defending a little bit later is going to be nice.
Yeah, it's such a smart play by Dark there, too. I think it was Ryung versus Solar where we saw a similar proxy on this map. Exactly, and Solar went for a different scouting pattern and was able to find that barracks. Now GuMiho decides to mix it up from what Ryung did earlier on in the GSL. Wasn't able to get any luck with it, though. Just immediately scouted by that first Overlord coming out from Dark. So Dark, off to a great start, but GuMiho, he's already begun the second factory tasteless. We're going to get a taste of mech here in game number 1.
Yeah, and this is a cool recovery play. Notice that he's got, close it up. He's got the factory on the outside, right? So he's showing that he has factory tech up, but the fact that the second factory is tucked inside the main is kind of a cool little touch to the build, because seeing one factory, that's not shocking, that's not crazy, right? There's plenty of games where you can get a factory up, especially after the proxy racks is killed, right? You need to just wall in immediately with something. But the idea that this can kind of cover for a mech play is pretty smart.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I wonder exactly what kind of mech GuMiho is going to bring out with this one. I believe a tech lab has now started, and with the barracks flying like this, especially against GuMiho, I think Dark now has a very clear idea of what he should be suspicious about.
Hey, this is a pretty good pull away, because the only way to kill that now is to have the barracks fly out even further, and how far do you want to actually go?
Yeah, well, Dark coming into the natural. Does see that Hellions are popping out. Blue Flame has started here, and a siege tank too, so it's not going to be battle mech.
Yeah.
We don't usually see Blue Flame start this early.
He's going to do a TVP push from StarCraft 1, I guess. I don't know what this is. It's going to be tanks and Hellions.
He's going to throw down some mines.
He's going Vulture tanks, yeah. Get some spider mines in your set. I don't feel like I've seen quite this variation in a while, man.
Yeah,
like,
I
can't think of a game, at least in this year, the year before, where it's like tanks and Blue Flame Hellion. Doesn't look like it's necessarily a commitment, because the third command center starts up here.
Yeah, I don't think this is anything that's going to line up for a push. This is just GuMiho going to be. This is going to be GuMiho trying to get some harassment done with these Hellions with Blue Flame, as that makes it a lot more difficult for the Zerg player to actually navigate the harassment effectively and not take too much economic damage. And behind that, just kind of play defensively back at home, adding in siege tanks, adding in that third command center. And it should be a nice long game. And Dark doesn't know exactly what he's setting up for right now. He's setting some spore crawlers on each expansion, not just the main and the third, but the natural as well. So he's trying to prepare for every circumstance, but really it's going to come down to whether these first Hellions are able to find much damage. And Aspire, actually, the tech now coming out from Dark. Now, GuMiho, he is already beginning his third factory and an armory, so, Thors, they are in the cards here.
Yeah.
Those could be mixed in very easily here by GuMiho.
Yeah, it seems like the Hellions are really just more for, trying to mow down creep and keep the Zerg controlled here. But yeah, he's going to dive in.
And we'll see what damage GuMiho's able to find. Actually playing this very conservatively. A lot of respect shown for Dark as he came in there at that angle. Gets 2 drone kills and pops right back out. Does not want to overextend and lose map control here.
He's going to swing up here once more. He hasn't really seen much of the tech. I mean, you could spot a Baneling's Nest. It doesn't tell you anything. And again, the big play is going to be the Spire tech. Now, you might be saying, well, Spire tech has been pretty typical in this matchup, even when they don't mech. So is it really that much of a surprise? I don't know. We don't see it as much against, mech is sort of a weird approach. We'll have to see how truly ready Terran is. I don't see turrets down here. And again, GuMiho's mech has always been sort of its own brand of mech.
I think he has a very good read on what Dark is doing, even though he hasn't scouted it exactly, though, because he's already started 2 Thors extremely early, Tasteless. We almost never see this, and some missile turrets are being constructed in the main base of Terran as well. So when these Mutalisks come across the map, they're going to have a lot of anti-air to deal with. I would be surprised if they got very much done at all.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. And I think you're right, State. It looks like he's actually basically ready to blind counter it. He doesn't see anything else on the map that's a threat, and so why not just get the Thors out here? Is there any medevac? Yeah, there is. So he can basically board these around. So it's funny. It's like there are no turrets really, or almost none. I guess there's 1 or 2 that have been made, but basically he could just move these around, and wherever the threat is, he just answers it immediately.
Yeah, this is some nice play coming out of GuMiho. Those shots already connecting. A lot of damage done to those Mutalisks. It seems like just GuMiho knew what was going to come, regardless of whether or not he actually scattered it. And so Dark now is going to have to make a transition. He's throwing down a Roach Warren. He's adding in 3 additional hatcheries, one of those already finished up.
Oh.
And these Banelings coming into the third base. GuMiho reacts, but a little bit late, so 9 SCVs are going to fall.
Yeah, big victory there from Dark. I think the first real engage we've had that's had something substantial happen. GuMiho is just going to continue to crank out more and more mech here. It does look like he's going to be setting up for a push. Dark is about to go up to 5 bases, so Dark's getting to where he needs to be. The Mutas are shut down again, not able to get really anywhere. And the fact that GuMiho finds those Lings that were about to be Banes is a good sign too.
Yeah, GuMiho is building his 5th and 6th Thor right now, Tasteless. He only has 2 siege tanks on the field. This is an almost exclusively Hellion Thor composition that he's running here. Very interesting take on mech. I was not anticipating this coming in, but it's worked very well so far. Dark finally able to clean up those pesky Hellions, but I think we are in for a longer game unless Dark is able to find a way to actually break through the defenses of Terran, because, you know, GuMiho is powering up with this incredibly supply-efficient army composition. I mean, you think of Thors and how many resources they cost, coupled with siege tanks and the defensive structures that GuMiho has set up at home. I don't even know if this Roach Bust at max against a 140 supply Terran is going to be able to get too much done.
Yeah, it might be going up against the wrong units. So he hits the turret, but immediately the Thors are going to be over here. And again, every time these mutants take damage, they're so close to being killed off.
That's so much damage coming in.
So much gas to, you lose 2 or 3 mutants. That's a lot of gas here. The attack's going to come in. It seems like the spread is pretty good. I feel like I've never quite casted this comp of units fighting each other, so let's see how this goes.
Yeah, attacks coming in right now. Some really nice dropship micro on the Thors so far. Only one of them has fallen as the Biles come in. Not really able to connect with a lot of these Thors. SCVs are falling in the 3rd base, but GuMiho has been able to dispatch the majority of Dark's forces on the north side, but there is a remax of 25 Roaches coming.
Yeah, you can see that with the Medivacs, you can micro the Thors pretty nicely.
Oh,
well,
wow.
Never mind. As I was saying that, several Biles connect. I actually think Dark's about to end the game here.
Yeah, he might be.
Keep in mind, factory units are made a lot slower than Ling Roaches. And there are so many red Thors here.
He needs to repair those Thors badly now.
Yeah, he needs to get like every SCV he has and repair that, because if he loses, the next 4 Thors, I think the game does in fact end.
Yeah, this might just be it.
GG
called. And I really thought GuMiho was going to have a chance to hold on there, but those Biles were absolutely huge. I think they connected with 2 Thors at a time there on the top side, and their health just went from almost a full meter to down close to 0.
Yeah, it's funny. I did I did say before the fight happens that I've never quite seen these comps fight. Like,
yeah, it was interesting.
Mass Thor, and there were like a couple Hellbats on the ground and a tank here or there. Again, some Mutas and Lings and Roach Ravager. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a different approach, but that doesn't mean that Dark can't come up with the answer, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to gauge exactly what the kill potential is there from Dark, because he absolutely threw me off, but that was just an excellently timed push. GuMiho trying to mix things up a little bit there in game number 1, going for a very Thor-heavy mech composition after his Proxy 2 barracks did not work. We'll see what he comes out here with game number 2. He said that his prep felt good, and certainly he has cooked up some very interesting builds, but
yeah,
what's it going to be on Royal Blood?
Well, it needs to be something better, and it certainly can't be something that's spotted as quickly as that Scout from Dark. It really all goes back to that Scout from Dark. I don't know what the game would look like had GuMiho strat panned out, but it would not have been like the game we just saw, for sure.
GSL Season 2. GuMiho. DKZ Gaming. Dark.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Look where the Overlord's going. Oh no!
Look at that rally point.
Oh my god. We'll take some serious balls to try this twice, but this is a crazy backfire. And look, I bet Dark's gonna pull away immediately.
It's just gonna be the same reaction, I think, from the previous
There we
time.
go.
And with a vision range here on this Overlord, that's gonna be an easy
Does
scout.
he pull away in
Dark.
time?
Oh, actually, did he? Oh, he's pulling the 3 drones, so I think GuMiho might
Yeah.
actually be able to barely glimpse that Overlord. Crazy this is happening twice in a row, and crazy that
Well, hold on.
it's getting scouted
Does the
instantly once
barracks
again.
actually finish? Yeah,
Yeah, it
he
should.
can't be stopped.
It should.
Okay. Well, okay, we do have a different game here. I thought initially.
Thank goodness.
I guess the placement of the barracks, it's very deliberate, right? It's far enough away that even if you spot it, three drones, can, just end the rush entirely.
Yeah, it is a significant further distance than previously. And actually, look at this back at home. It's even a different follow-up. Keep in mind that in game number 1, it seemed like GuMiho was really gunning to go for this 2 barracks opening. But here in game number 2, immediately following this up with a factory. So perhaps Reaper Hellion coming out very early here for GuMiho. Bunker Rush as well. This is an interesting opening.
Now, Dark has been extremely good at holding these rushes. But a lot of times these rushes, it's not really about ending the game outright. It's about, crippling the Zerg enough to where it's a very, very difficult mid-game into late game. Pretty good surrounds. All right, it does manage to get down. I was going to say, if he could actually get the damage off and kill that, that would have really messed up the rush entirely. We've got a queen about to hatch here at the natural, and that's going to make it impossible for the Reapers to have too much sustain.
Yeah, Reaper's probably not going to get too much more done. And I like that play by GuMiho, throwing down the barracks, or not the barracks, excuse me, the bunker at the natural expansion and then canceling it. I think that he was trying to throw Dark off and make it difficult for Dark to gauge exactly how committed this was going to be on the ground. And perhaps be a lower tech push, right, with Reapers and, just amping up the pressure in that way. But instead, Hellion follow up here from GuMiho. So he forced a couple more lings out from Dark than perhaps Dark would have liked to make because he had to respect the potential for that rush. And now back at home, GuMiho going for a 3rd command center.
Okay, so we have the... oh, no, not actually the first drone kill here. The Hellions, the Reaper, doing a decent amount of damage. The Queen does have a little bit of sustain. The Orange Queen is microed away. The Reaper, which soaked a lot of the damage up. Okay, first drone kill. Soon to be maybe 2nd drone kill. Let's see.
Dark's doing a good job of blocking that ramp, and now with so many of these units just falling right here. The zoning by the Lings is so
sick.
clutch.
Yeah.
Only 1 Reaper is going to survive, as GuMiho maybe a little bit over-ambitious.
I'm sorry, was it like maybe 1 or 2 drones were killed back there, right?
2 drones.
So, it's not a lot. Fortunately, he stops that Ling from scouting, but, it does seem like Dark has kind of shut this down. And he had that drone hidden down here at the 3rd. That was long before this rush really started, but he was able to get that hatchery set up, and it was never slowed down.
Fusion Core now in production, Tasteless.
Yeah, GuMiho kind of...
Whoa! Oh, no, traffic jam.
Oh, my God. The Reapers started to ping-pong off each other.
Yeah, he's bleeding units.
Yeah. I got to say, I thought each of these best of 5s was going to be pretty long, as in it was going to go into, each one was going to be hours. It's possible, the way that this series is looking, that this could be a short one. GuMiho is having a very hard time.
Yeah, he really hasn't gotten too much done with these Hellions and Reapers. And part of that is Dark with immaculate scouting, both in game number 1 and game number 2. But also just Dark's responses have been so clutch. I mean, this Reaper's going to come back into the main base and not even get 1 more drone, so... GuMiho, this is kind of a tough situation for him. He invested all these resources into Hellions, into Reapers, and he doesn't have much to show for it. He got some Lings forced out from Dark, and yes, he did kill a good number of Lings, but obviously no Queen kills. I think in total he had 2, maybe 3 drones go down over the course of this game. The 3rd hatchery also was not very delayed by Zerg, and behind all of that, GuMiho was really slow in settling up his natural expansion. So his economy is lagging behind the Zergs. And although this is not the committed all-in style of battlecruiser play that we saw from Young against Solar earlier on in GSL, it is just 1 starport BC into a 3rd command center. Still, you have to wonder exactly whether GuMiho is going to be able to get too much more done here, because tempo absolutely favoring Dark right now.
Yeah, and especially with battlecruiser builds, a lot of it is entirely hinged on tempo. The complexity of the rush, it is manageable at high levels, right? I like that that's just set of vision, by the way. But, it is something that if the Zerg has built up enough momentum, they can kind of deal with it. We've got some drones being killed, and you can see the battlecruiser is basically roaming at this point in time. We have the Hellions coming up. They're going to go for some drone kills. Really good split.
Yeah, very nice split there by Dark. I like the move by GuMiho as well. He knows that he's drawn the queens into the natural expansion, so that opens up this opportunity here, and that adds on a good number of more drone kills, going all the way up to 8 now. Second battle cruiser also underway. Dark is throwing down a Spire to get some Corruptors to try and deal with this, but GuMiho, he's already transitioning out of it, back into Bio.
Yeah. And I mean, the Bio's not that crazy of a switch, right? I mean, I know he's gone mech in the previous game, but a lot of times BC builds, I think that if you try to go BC into mech, you just don't get a lot done. And the Zerg can really kind of take whatever they want on the map here. The Roaches come in, obviously, with a siege tank there. You got to back up.
Yeah, more Roaches underway. As with the second battle cruiser coming out. Okay, production does not stop. I was wondering whether GuMiho was going to go up to a third one. I would imagine this is going to be the last BC that we see, the one that's under production right now, but
you know, it really has not accumulated the kind of kills and damage we would have hoped for, if we're looking at this from the Terran perspective. Usually BCs come in much earlier and do a lot more, and they've already taken several swings into the Zerg by the point that we're at this moment in the game. Keep in mind that when you rush into all these other units, basically anything that's not Marines, nice kills on the 2 queens, whenever you make anything that's not like the Marine, the medevac, all that, when you delay that, it's less of your core army later on. And so you have less muscle on the map to directly push the Zerg around. Most of what the Terran relies on, and we're seeing it here now, is this harass. If the battlecruisers stayed and fought their ground, they would be killed off. And so they're trying to roam, they're trying to take whatever hits they can. Oh my God, okay, he's gonna get out of there in time.
You're traumatized from the young games earlier.
I know, I really am. But yeah, I mean, now with Corruptors out, I mean, how much more can you get done with this?
Yeah, it feels like the time where the BCs are going to have a lot of utility is pretty much gone, besides defensively here, right? I mean, maybe GuMiho can go for some very sneaky plays since he was able to clear the Overlords up with that Viking earlier in the game. You know, try to maneuver them around the map and keep that teleport just in case the Corruptors catch them, but it's not the kind of high-impact play that's going to be really netting a lot of returns here for Terran. And, you know, I was interested, too, that Dark, before he started those Corruptors, he queued up, I think, 5 or 6 Mutalisks and then had to cancel them. So maybe a little bit of indecisiveness there from Dark. He's trying to get a bit of a read on exactly what GuMiho is going for. And you got to think that with the defensive setup that GuMiho has back at home now, with Yamato cannons, with missile turrets, with Marines on the ground, these Corruptors shouldn't be able to get too much damage in. You know, the battle cruisers, they should be able to be repaired. They should be able to be defended here by the forces on the ground.
But you notice that we're seeing defensive warps. I mean, that's sort of a resource of its own, the warp. And so the fact that he's warping away to not die to Corruptors means that he's not going to be getting anything else done on the map. And Zerg is actually about to max out again. He's going to take out the Sentry Tower. This is so funny. And he actually gets away without even taking a single bit of damage. But this means this attack is going to blindside GuMiho. GuMiho is rapidly growing, but Dark has finished growing. The only thing Dark wants to grow right now is Larva so he can refill and max out again in this attack.
Yeah, and GuMiho might just be dead here. That's a lot of Corruptors right now. 13 in the skies. Those should be able to deal with the battle cruisers as the Roaches and Lings and Ravagers also coming on the ground. Biles popping the siege tank. That one falls. There aren't too many more siege tanks to be found either, as the SCVs are frantically trying to repair these battle cruisers, but there's too much targeting coming in from the Corruptors. A BC falls, and this third base is all but forfeit, and I don't think GuMiho with his Remax is going to be able to stabilize very well here. I mean, that's so much damage done.
Yeah, I mean, this appears to be too much. The last battle cruiser is going to fall. Oh, hold on. Maybe the SCVs actually can repair it. I stand corrected.
Yeah, but the next wave, once it comes in, I'm very concerned about GuMiho right now. Is he does have 2 factory siege tank, and that might be the saving grace, but with only 1 siege tank on the ground here at that third, you got to think the splash damage, there really isn't too much to be found from Terran. And once Dark comes in again, it might just be too much to hold on.
So, yeah, I mean, right here, again, the tank count was thinned out. The battle cruisers, there's just 1 at play right now, and that may drop to 0 in a second. Before it even does, GG is called. Dark now, almost done. Now, we started the show at 6. You know, look, I'm not going to lie, guys. TVZ, TVT, they're long matchups. I think all these matchups coming into this tonight looked pretty even on paper. Even if you were confident that maybe your favorite player was going to win, I think you'd be nuts to say a 3-0. we've been live for 35 minutes. Dark is smashing GuMiho. GuMiho, his openings, which are hinged a little bit on surprise, are getting spotted. When Dark isn't able to stop them outright, it doesn't matter because Dark can stop them as they are in action. And I don't know what GuMiho can do to come back. I mean, this may be a story of hubris here. As, you know, the confidence of GuMiho to try the proxies twice. He's not looking confident, by the way, right now. It's not paid off anyways, what he's tried.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to see a little bit more conservative play coming out from GuMiho here in game number 3 as it's match point. Dark 1 map win away from booking his ticket to the grand finals.
GSL Season 2. GuMiho.
He sent out 2 SCVs. But wait, this might not necessarily be a proxy Rex.
Oh my god, I think it is.
Yeah, I thought
DKZ Gaming. Dark.
maybe there was some kind of opening. Again, you know, it's GuMiho, I do a lot more guessing.
Yeah.
You know, with what he's going to do, but I thought maybe it's something where he wants to try to, like, check for the hatchery right away, like we see a lot of Protosses do versus Zerg.
Well, Taze, if we build the barracks here, there's no way the Overlords are going to spot it.
Yeah, there's just really a story of where do you hide the barracks, and we're going to get to the bottom of that before we get to the finals.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Fool me thrice, I didn't go to the finals of GSL.
I hope GuMiho gets a little bit more out of this than he was able to get in game number 1 and game number 2.
GuMiho support here.
See Jettison Keem? Were they calling somebody handsome? I missed who that was.
So he's going to do it again. My concern here is not whether or not this is found, because it can't be found unless a drone was going to scout. And the way this map is shaped, it's like too far out. You're just not going to find it. My concern is that Dark already kind of stopped what this build was already. I mean, we'll see if there's a different idea at play. One thing to note is that in the interview, Dark did say it seems like Terran has over 300 builds. I kind of agree with that lately.
Especially GuMiho. GuMiho absolutely has over 300 builds.
Well, most Terrans have 300. He seems to have like 400. He seems to really kind of, if you can imagine it, you can do it. Got some young gamers in the audience. Welcome, guys.
Oh, they're cheering for Maru. That might be coming up pretty soon.
That's right. Get this pre-show out of here and get Maru on the stage. So again, it's the Reaper coming in here. The Reaper, by the way, you know, this is, I guess you can call it I want your thoughts on this. I call it, sometimes we say a proxy because we see it in the middle of the map. It's not that close, though.
I would still just call it a proxy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's built outside your main base in an effort to try and close the distance between where it's built and the rally point, like, to your opponent's base. But yeah, it is kind of funky. It's not quite a Mako, like, it's not a Makarax. It's not like in the natural, like, hidden behind the mineral line in 2011. But
whoa.
Oh wow. I'm worried for GuMiho right now. Maybe he's able to defend this one, but Dark in game number 1 and game number 2 was able to eke out a tempo advantage in both of those games. Now here in game number 3, GuMiho did not commit as much.
Oh my God, Roach Warren.
He did not commit as much to the early game harassment. But it felt like game number 1, game number 2, GuMiho did not respect the aggression from Dark. He played a little bit, you know, too close for comfort. And both times he got greed checked by Dark with these maxed Roach pushes. And now with Dark scouting this incredibly fast 3rd CC right after the factory.
Yeah.
Dark is pulling the trigger yet again. That Roach Warren's already coming down. 3rd hatchery is underway, but at that point, I mean, it's basically just for larva for the reinforcing lings, right? And GuMiho, I'm worried that he's going to be a little bit in the dark about this, and it might be a very quick 3-0.
So, I feel like this whole series, there was a period in martial arts where, you know, they had all the different martial art forms, and they hadn't really interacted with each other, and people were like, which one's the best? Is it Tai Chi? Is it Judo? Is it... and it turns out some were way better than others. I feel like that's what we're seeing right here with this, where it's like, is it you know, GuMiho's crazy Tai Chi moves, or is it Dark's like straight up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Oh, this is the worst case scenario, by the way.
Blue Flame versus Hellions.
Yeah.
I mean,
Blue Flame against a Ravager bust. 2 factory Blue Flame against a Ravager bust. It will do a great job of cleaning up the Lings on the ground, but what's going to be the sustain here? Oh my goodness, I'm getting heart palpitations watching that CC lift up too.
I know.
GuMiho just does not know.
It's going to go right under his nose. Okay, he's going to see it at the last second.
Yeah, what does he start now?
You can hit the Tech Lab. So this is probably the worst place to be upgrading anything here.
Yeah, that stim pack absolutely going to get denied. And I think the Roaches should be able to work their way in between these structures as well. As the vials are slowly coming in. GuMiho trying to buy as much time as he can here with this repair. Siege Tank about halfway done. And the Hellions, they're doing a good job of catching the reinforcing Lings. So there might be a chance here for GuMiho. That's some excellent positioning there. Stim pack does go down. Siege Tank should be almost completed. Finally, it's out.
He's going to use these repairing SCVs and their positioning to try to pelt them with the corrosive vials. The tank's out. The tank is the one hope of basically stopping the rush.
Wow.
Well,
by the skin of his teeth, he might be able to hold on to this.
Well,
but
there's a lot of Lings coming across the map here.
What are those Hellions doing right now? Okay, they're right by the 3rd base. So it seems like they got dislodged from intercepting the reinforcements, and now all these Lings coming in. Let's see the Blue Flame Hellions try to do work.
Yeah, he's going to hit these SCVs over to the side. The Blue Flame Hellions can't really help out. There is enough Ravagers. I think he can hit it with a corrosive vial if he gets in range.
Yeah, one more bio will take down that Siege Tank, and GG's called. Dark with a 3-0. 6 minutes in game number 3 is going to break down GuMiho.
What?
Some
this was
insane
a round
killer
of 4.
instinct.
2 storied players. It was over in 41 minutes.
That's insane.
And that includes like us interviewing the players on the stage. I am stunned. I am shocked. Dark, by the way. I mean, he did it to GuMiho. Can he do it to Maru or Cure? I don't see why not.
That was absolutely crazy. The speed with which Dark was able to dispatch GuMiho. Every single game going for a timing attack. It felt like all these builds GuMiho went for, you know, he never got anything done early on. He went for greedy plays as the follow-up, and he tried 3 different variants on it. Every single time was taken out.
We're going to find out in the interview, but I just want to say, I do wonder if some of this came down to GuMiho's confidence. There's something about the set of 3 builds he used here that seemed to, I don't know, it seemed like not very confident, especially the 3rd CC right away that was scouted. I feel like we saw much more technical GuMiho before.
Absolutely.
But, you know, sometimes you get 2 players and people would say they're roughly the same, but when they play against each other, one always beats the other.
Yeah, man, I had high expectations for GuMiho coming into the semifinals today. I thought he might be one of those players who just emerges victorious and takes the whole thing. With the form that he was showing in the round of 16 and the round of 8, just his TVT is absolutely impeccable. His TVZ seemed quite solid as well earlier on in the tournament, but you know, his greed absolutely did get checked there by Dark in one of the most stunning ways possible. I mean, that was like a speed run.
It was so quick. I kind of can't believe it. I don't think we're going to have anything that short, no matter what, going forward.
No way.
The other TVT has to be closer than that. And really, it was in every game, Dark kind of, okay, you're going to do that, catches the fist, comes back around with a killing blow, Roach Ravagers, whatever else he needed, and pulled through. We're going to go to a break. We come back the other side of the round of 4. Stay tuned.